This just into CNN, a member of the executive board for the House Freedom Caucus just told CNN that the far-right group voted to remove Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene just before the July 4th break.
Been frustration bubbling up inside the Freedom Caucus over the last few months, and really it boils down to the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene has become one of the biggest allies of Republican leadership. She publicly criticized some of her Freedom Caucus colleagues for not supporting Kevin McCarthy for Speaker during his speaker's battle. And then the real straw that broke the camel's back, according to Congressman Andy Harris, he's a member of the Freedom Caucus, was that the last week before recess, there was a dust-up on the floor, a confrontation between Greene and another member of the Freedom Caucus, where Greene admitted that she called Lauren Boebert a little B word.
Yeah, she called her a little bitch. And we're going to talk more about that little Boebert a little bit later. But before we go any further, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can't get the image of her disgusting feet on the beach out of my head anytime I talk about her. But she posted this video on her Twitter account yesterday with the caption, "Avoiding distractions is the key to staying focused." So check this out. Why is she always posting her feet? Jesus, please cover those up. For the sake of humanity, cover up those feet. But apparently, I mean, and this is a woman who knows how to be in office and do no work. I mean, we all remember that she was stripped of all of her committee assignments while the Democrats had control of the House. Now she's being kicked off of a caucus. This is somebody who loves to run her mouth and hates to do her job, which maybe is the best situation for us because I really don't want her doing any legislating. But she seems really unfazed by this new development with the House Freedom Caucus. But as CNN reported, it all stems from this exchange with Lauren Boebert. You can see them here yelling at one another. This is the infamous exchange in which at one point Marjorie Taylor Greene refers to Lauren Boebert as a little bitch, something that Marjorie Taylor Greene was very thrilled to confirm to multiple media outlets after the fact, although Lauren Boebert stayed somewhat moderately professional about it, saying she didn't want to discuss the incident. But again, there is a little bit of irony here because Lauren Boebert actually didn't want Marjorie Taylor Greene to be kicked out of the caucus. Daily Beast reported on this. They wrote that Greene's biggest personal foe in the House Freedom Caucus, Boebert, was far from the most enthusiastic to push her out. During internal deliberations almost 2 weeks ago, which occurred after Greene confirmed to multiple publications she did indeed call Boebert a little bitch, Boebert agreed with another member who argued against removing Greene out of respect for her right to freedom of speech. Now, Boebert said that while she defended Marjorie Taylor Greene's freedom of speech, it did not have an impact on her vote. The comments that Marjorie and I shared with one another had absolutely no influence on my vote. Now, a spokesperson did release a statement on behalf of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this is what it said. "In Congress, I serve Northwest Georgia first, and I serve no other group in Washington. I will work with anyone who wants to secure our border, protect our children inside the womb and after they are born, and the forever foreign wars, and do the work to save this country. The GOP has less than 2 years to show America what a strong, unified Republican-led Congress will do when President Trump wins the White House in 2024. This is my focus, nothing else." And I think that writer Michael Harriot summed it up best with this tweet. It says, "Marjorie Taylor Greene getting expelled from the Freedom Caucus for calling Lauren Boebert a little bitch is like getting kicked out of the Klan for using the N-word during a cross burning." But Mayor, just to that point, we know that that's really not why she's getting kicked out of the Freedom Caucus, right? She's being kicked out of the Freedom Caucus because she's got close ties to Kevin McCarthy, and the Freedom Caucus doesn't like that, as a lot of their members rallied against Kevin McCarthy. So it's interesting to see that. I mean, of course, a huge part of that is Marjorie Taylor Greene's ability to fundraise. The Republican establishment likes that so much, but it's this idea that there's factions within the Republican Party based on ideology, when that's not true at all, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is about as far right as it can be. And I think some have tried to portray Kevin McCarthy as less than that, but they're best friends now. So it's not even an ideological split that we're seeing here.
Yeah, and I also think, listen, we should be extremely, clear about what you said. This is not that she's not far right. This is all about the politics right now, what's at stake. Also, I think people are seeing her prepare herself for something higher than what she is right now. And I think people may have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. Her positioning herself to move into leadership, or even like she thinks Donald Trump administration, right? And I think people wanted to bring that down, and it had very little to do with what she said to Boebert, because we know this is the party that says a lot of things that are disgusting about a lot of people, LGBTQI folk, black folk, anybody that's not white basically gets smashed by the Republican Party and can get it at any given day. Here's what's gonna be interesting though. For the Freedom Caucus, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the largest fundraiser for their PAC. So does she take her money with her, or do they really kick her out? And I know people are talking about maybe there wasn't a quorum in the vote. Some people said that it was kind of messy. They didn't have the agenda before they got there. They didn't know what it was about, so they didn't show up. So we're gonna find out after this recess what's really going on with this expulsion and if it's gonna stick. But I do know that Republicans love money, like the rest of us love our kids. So they might not be done with Marjorie Taylor Greene yet.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, because still a member of the House Freedom Caucus is Lauren Boebert, who by the skin of her teeth won her last election. And the Democratic Party's and they didn't see that as a potential victory for them. So they've already started their fundraising efforts to oust her in the next election cycle. And honestly, the odds of that happening are pretty high. So it's strange to see them sort of hedge their bets behind members of their caucus who aren't particularly as popular as maybe they once were, not as good fundraisers as Marjorie Taylor Greene. So it does sort of seem like they're shooting themselves in the foot in this regard, but hey, that's better for the rest of us. So I'd love to see this sort of division damage their ability to earn money, although it is concerning to see the establishment of the Republican Party willing to cozy up next to Marjorie Taylor Greene to get that strong fundraising boost. But we'll keep an eye on that, and especially once they come back from this recess, how this really plays out, and moving through the upcoming election as well. I think that the mayor's absolutely right that we're going to see Marjorie Taylor Greene absolutely trying to get a position within the Trump administration that I hope to God, I pray to God never happens again.